Hello and welcome to a Q&A with David in Ark. Thank you guys so much for watching. Had several folks send in some questions, so we're going to jump into it and see what you guys have come up with. We're going to start with Roasted Bunny, aka Bonnie V Bunny on Twitter, asks who or what inspired you to create a YouTube channel and do videos? Perfect question. That is a great question, and actually, it's a mix of things. I started my YouTube channel, technically speaking, way back when YouTube started. What was that? 2006, somewhere in there, and I used it the way most people use YouTube. I just was using it to put up personal videos. It was a way for me to share videos that I was making with family members across the country. That was my main purpose back then. And I didn't really do much of anything with it. Now, for a while, my daughter was into competitive cheer. And so I would video their routines and put those on YouTube. And again, to share with other cheer parents, to share with friends and family across the country. And so that's kind of where my YouTube started. But again, I didn't really do anything with it. It was just that casual kind of friends thing. Fast forward to probably about, I would say, probably 2013, 2014, somewhere in there. I really started watching what was happening on YouTube, and I was enjoying some of the stuff that people were doing on YouTube. We were watching things like kid snippets, and again, I may have the dates wrong, so don't crucify me here. But kid snippets and the React, and of course it wasn't called then; it was called Fine Brothers back then. And other folks that were doing videos. I started watching Jacksepticeye not long after he started putting videos. I was watching Markiplier and some other folks, and I was talking to my son, and we were talking about recording games and putting games out there and just kind of playing with that. Now, the problem I had with that was I had no idea how on earth you even recorded videos of gameplay. And then at that time we were using, I think maybe like a free version of Camtasia. And the PC that I had at the time it couldn't handle recording the games and playing the games. And so it was it was awful. And I stayed away from it. My son, Tyler JH7, I'll put a link to his channel down in the description. He started recording stuff. I dabbled in it, and I think I may have even put up a video or two back then, but never did much with it. And then it's one of these really crazy things. But one of my nephews, he was in, they live out of town, and so he had come in, and I can't remember how old he was at the time. I don't know, 7, I think. And he said I got a video on my YouTube channel, and you don't have any videos, or I can't remember how he said it. I don't know. And we got into this, kind of this back and forth thing, and he was, like I said, like 7. So, but in a weird sort of way, he kind of challenged me to put videos out on YouTube, partly because I think he wanted to watch the videos, and he may be watching this one. So, Sam, if you're out there, man, thanks. So I started recording videos, and in the very early days, which is so weird to say because that was like 2 years ago when I really started getting serious. And I'm going to use that term loosely, but when I really started putting out videos, a lot more videos, then he was watching, and other people started watching, and It took about a year before things really started to catch on, and then they blew up in the summer of 2016. And then in the fall of 2016, when YouTube changed the algorithm, the whole bottom fell out. So I was getting videos that were getting thousands of views. For a small channel, that's huge. When your videos are getting thousands of views per video, I mean, it's awesome. It really is. And then the bottom fell out, and then I was down to getting 10, 20 views, which is sort of where I am now with a lot of the videos. Some of them will garner 100 or so, but it's been a tough battle coming back up again. But anyhow, the short answer to the question is who or what inspired me. I'd say it was that combination of things. And what keeps me doing it, frankly, it's fun. I enjoy recording the videos. I enjoy putting them up there. Frankly, I like hearing what you guys have to say about the videos and the suggestions that you guys come up with. So that's it in a nutshell, pretty much. Who or what inspires me to create my YouTube channel. The next question, I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit just for some variety, but the next question is one from War Heroes Gaming, and the question is, how do I like my new PC? Now, if those of you who've been around for a little while, you may know, I recently, within like just a couple of weeks, purchased a brand new CyberPower PC, Ryzen 1700X. Now it came with 8 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte standard hard drive. It also came with a 3 gig 1060 GTX video card. I got it for a killer deal. I'm just going to say it was less than $725 after all was said and done. And for the first, week maybe? I can't remember how long I've had it now. For the first while, though, I'll be honest, I was not all that thrilled with it. It was basically giving me the same performance I had with my i7-4770. And I'm like, I upgraded to this big bad machine, and it's not doing jack. Now, a couple of things. One, I already had a 1070 8 gig GTX that I swapped out like as soon as I got my unit in. And then I also knew that I wanted to put in more memory. So that was coming no matter what. So ultimately, I actually ended up adding 16 gigs of RAM. Again, got it on sale. And then a 480 gig SSD. And I also got that on sale. And so I use the SSD for my video recording. And of course, adding the RAM. Now the system has 24 gigs of RAM. So very nice. But it still wasn't performing the way I really thought it should. Did some poking around, and as it turns out, for whatever reason, the AMD drivers for the motherboard were not on my computer. So I have the MSI DVD. It's got an MSI motherboard in it. Popped that in there, fired up some software, and started playing around. And well, my system was only running at 2.2 gigahertz all the time, no matter what games I was playing. It was never ramping up to what it was supposed to do. So like, oh, okay, so I know how to fix that. In the BIOS, there's a setting for gaming mode. I can hit gaming mode. It'll ramp it up as it's needed. So okay, we're good. The thing is that when I did that, actually, it only increased the fan speed and didn't change the processor at all. So did a bunch of poking online, and long story short, a lot of people are having this problem with a whole variety of Ryzen chipsets and motherboards. And here, evidently, is the fix. Go into your BIOS, find where it says load the optimized defaults, smack that, reboot, and when it boots back up again, that triggers the system to go, oh, hey, I can ramp up my CPU, and now when I'm gaming, my system is running in between 3.4 and 3.9 gigahertz. In fact, I even have there's a piece of software from MSI that shows what the CPU is doing. It also has what's called a quiet mode, so that will take it back down to the 2.2. But since I've done that, it's behaved much better. It's been wonderful. So I'm now happy with the system. Wasn't necessarily at first, but I really am happy with it now. So thank you very much for asking War Heroes Gaming. I appreciate that a whole bunch. And I do want to give a specific shout out to War Heroes Gaming. You are currently my only, what do you call that? Sponsor, contributor on Patreon, and I thank you so much for that. It means a whole lot to me that you give $5 every month and give that to me to help. I know why you're doing it. From my end, it helps offset, some of the costs. But even if it didn't, I don't even care about that. I appreciate so much that that your faith in me and that what I'm doing and that what I'm doing has helped you. And I appreciate that a whole bunch. So thank you so much for being a contributor on Patreon to War Heroes Gaming. So thank you so much. All right, next question comes from Mark Aubrey, and I've known Mark for many years. Actually, he and I met through my other hobby, which is baseball card collecting. That's why I do Bustin' Our Wax almost every Sunday. I try to do it every Sunday. It doesn't always work out that way. And I don't know if he's being facetious because of this. You'll know. Just give me a minute. Or if he's serious. But the question is, who cuts your hair? Now, I will tell you, I have hair on the sides, okay? So I can't tell which camera I'm on. But anyway, I do have hair that grows out on the sides. I got hair that grows out in the back. It gets all kinds of weird. Not so much on top anymore, but I debated whether or not to answer the question, and I decided, you know what, I am going to answer this question because it will probably it'll make some of you want to leave very snide and probably derogatory remarks, and then some of you may go, oh, gotcha. So here it is. As it sits right now, believe it or not, my mom actually cuts my hair, and she was a certified beautician, went to beauty school, the whole 9 yards way back in the day. And she's not always cut my hair. I've had different people cut my hair, through the years, depending on where I've lived and all that kind of stuff. But, here's the funny thing about that. I happen to think that it is very cool that, that's something that I can share with my mom, that she is able to cut my hair and it doesn't look like a bowl cut. Then again, I don't have anything up here anymore, so I don't know, maybe that's not such a good idea. I don't know. I know she has nothing to do with that. I know, but I really do. I appreciate it, and it's one of those things that if you find something that you can connect with your parents, your grandparents, those people who take care of you, aunts, uncles, cousins, I mean, it doesn't matter, even your best friends, find those things that you connect with and that you will be able to take with you long after they're gone, long after they're not able to do that anymore, or you're not able to do that together. Believe me, those are the things that you're going to cherish. I know I sound like, a old grandpa man here, but seriously, one of the things I miss most about my dad not being around anymore, he passed away in 2007, and it's gaming. He and I gamed together, not so much, you have to remember, I mean, he died in 2007, so we gamed, well, basically up to about mid 2006 before he went overseas. And so, we were gaming really back when we still had dial-up internet, and it was just, it was awful. So we didn't do a lot of multiplayer stuff. But what we would do is we would both buy the same game, and we both get the same games, and then we would play them individually, but at the same time we would spend a lot of time together helping each other through the different games. Or we would do some multiplayer, like we would do I don't know, what do you want to call that, sharing keyboard, sharing controller, that type of thing. We played a lot of NHL hockey from EA Sports, played a lot of FIFA from EA Sports, played some football as well, but then also played games like Doom and in later iterations of Doom. We did a lot of Medal of Honor. We did a lot of Call of Duty, Battlefield 1942, and those are the things that those are the memories I have. Those are the things that will always stick with me. So the fact that my mom cuts my hair, I know that's like a big joke, but so it turns out my mom actually was a beautician, so there is that. But it's also the, I don't know, it's again one of those things that we can bond over. So who cuts my hair? My mom. So there you go. All right, let's roll back to a question that Roasted Bunny asked, and that is, how long have you been into tech for, and what were the specs of your very first PC? So as far as how long have I been into tech, truly for as long as I can remember. I can remember I must have been in, I don't know, first or second grade, and we had this old, well, I mean, it wasn't old at the time, but we had a radio, and I had gone into the basement and grabbed my dad's screwdriver, and I took the screws out and took the cover off and was checking everything out. And so, I mean, since I was tiny, I've always been interested in technology and how things work and taking things apart and putting things back together. So, I mean, really, it's been almost as long as I've been alive, and I have been very blessed to have been put in positions where certain companies that I worked for let me basically play around with their technology. One of the most influential was a place that I used to work up in West Little Rock. And it's called Youth Home, and it's a residential treatment facility for troubled teens. I worked in their human resources department, and at the time I worked there, they had a lot of network problems. They were having problems with they had a NetWare server that was like, I don't know, maybe NetWare 2 point something. It might have been 3. It might have been 3. But they were having trouble with that. And I just asked if they wouldn't mind, hey, I'm here. Mind if I take a look at it? And they said, sure. And that actually built into a separate set of duties that I was able to take on. I think it was basically general technology. It wasn't like, even though I did server administration, I did network administration, that isn't what, we called it back in the day. I mean, that's just not what they called it. And that parlayed future things that I got into that just kind of helped with tech. But even before that, my and this is going to lead into the next part of this. What were the specs of my very first PC? Now I'm going to back up a little bit and say my very first computer that I owned was a Commodore 64. Absolutely loved it. As a matter of fact, I've got a friend of mine who he had a couple of Commodore 64s, a Commodore 128, several drives and pieces and parts in his storage shed probably about 6 months ago, and reached out and said, hey, do you want this stuff? So I actually have that. I haven't had a chance to do much with it yet. I can't wait to show you guys. It is so freaking awesome. But I personally owned a Commodore 64. Before that, we played around with TRS-80s. There were several mainframe systems that we had access to when I was in school. And so all of that built on up to my first PC. Now, my first PC I got, I think, I can't remember if I got no, it wasn't when I went to college. I can't remember now exactly what year I got it, but it was originally it was a 386 SX25. So it was a 25 megahertz, not gigahertz, 25 megahertz IBM PC made by Packard Bell. It was a little small form factor. It was Packard Bell. It was a piece of junk. But over the years, I was actually able to upgrade that little thing. So, that was the day. Those were those days where you bought a kit to upgrade your computer to an MPC, a multimedia PC with a sound card and CD-ROM, and there was something else that made it an MPC. But anyway, I upgraded into an MPC, and then in those days, you could also buy these little adapters, and you could buy processors. So, for example, even though my computer had a 386 SX25, I bought an adapter that I could plug into that socket that would allow me to plug a 486 chip into it. And the first one I had, I think, was a 486 SX. No, I take that back. The CPU in my main computer was a 386 SX16 megahertz, because the first 486 I got was a 486 SX25, and then I was able to actually add another stacker on top of that, and I can't remember what it ended up being, a DX33, or maybe it was still an SX33. There was something weird about if your socket was an SX, you couldn't upgrade it to a DX, or you could upgrade it to a DX, but it wouldn't have all the functionality or something. I can't remember how all that went. But anyway, so my very first actual PC was a Packard Bell 386. It had a 129 meg hard drive, and I can specifically remember thinking, I will never need more than 129 megs. Why would I ever need more than 129 megs? Now you can't even take 2 pictures without filling up 120 megs. That's, I know, exaggeration, but still, I mean, it's amazing to think back to those days. So there you go. So how long have I been into tech? And those were the specs of my very first PC. War Heroes Gaming had another question, and it was sort of tongue-in-cheek, and that is, when will your internet get better? Oh, wait, that will never happen. You are so right, my friend. My internet here sucks. I live in a very, very rural part of Arkansas, and our high-speed internet, maximum available bandwidth at the time of this recording, is 1.5 megs download and 256K upload. And you'll wonder why it takes me so long to put videos up on YouTube. That'll do it. So that's when will it get better? I don't know. Almost a year ago now, not quite, but almost a year ago, CenturyLink, who was the only provider in this part of where I live, they ran fiber all over the place, and then that was it. They ran the fiber, nobody can attach to it. We don't know what's going on. They won't tell us anything. I bug them every now and then on Twitter, but I mean, it's useless. I do it mainly just to make my point that, we've got this stuff in the ground and they're dragging their feet, and I don't really know if there's anything we can do about that. If you're savvy on those things, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what it takes to light the fire under a telco to actually bring us up into 2017 standards, because we're not anywhere close. 1.5 megs download max, yoy. Anyhow, will it ever happen? Who knows? I'm sure in my lifetime, who knows? So there you go. I think that's it. All right, so there you go. That's the Q&A. Thank you guys so much for your questions, and hope you enjoyed the answers, and I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I love just talking and sharing with you guys. So as I'm putting out this video, it is Thanksgiving in America. So happy Thanksgiving to those of you that celebrate the holiday, however you celebrate that. Me personally, we celebrate it with family, and we sit around and eat too much, laugh too much, talk too much, and watch too much football. So that's the holiday tradition here. But really, just take a moment. No matter where you live, it doesn't matter. You can always celebrate. You can always give thanks. Let me put it that way. And just give thanks for your friends, for your family. Give thanks for whatever it is. I mean, heck, for that matter, you could give thanks for the goofy little things, YouTube, Facebook, whatever you do that brings you a little joy in your life. Just take a moment and be thankful. And I appreciate it so much. Got any other questions, problems, suggestions, horror stories? Feel free to leave those down in the comment section below. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.